Hello, everyone, and welcome to Toku Portal Podcast. I am Ryan. With me is
Did it dedicate?
Mention for pie?
The Little King.
And Vashi V. Look, I didn't do the opening today.
There's a very good reason for that.
My Peter's giant sack of crap.
And welcome to the long-awaited yet not actually wanted final episode of LupinRanger vs. PatoRanger. I don't want to be here. It's over.
It's like
Yeah.
watching a car crash. You want to look away, but you just can't.
Except it's a car crash full of feels.
Worse.
Before we get into the episode itself, I just have one question for all of you. Throughout this entire time, is this kind of what you're expecting from the ending in any way?
Not really.
No.
I honestly expected a slightly more realistic take. Maybe that the Lupin Rangers were going to go to jail. Slight possibility for a happy ending, but I didn't really hope for it too much because I didn't have high expectations for that.
I think in terms of like the way the ending played out, I didn't see that coming, but the general idea of the two teams still being together, I kind of felt like that would happen. Especially since we're gonna get the Triple Sentai versus movie.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But that's a conversation for another day. From my perspective, though, I was in the camp of, yeah, they're gonna come back together eventually. It's inevitable at this point, but I wasn't expecting it to go the way it did for this, and honestly, it put a lot into perspective, and I loved that, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
Ignore that notification, people.
I just expected the end of how, like, them meeting back up. I expected that to happen a lot sooner in the episode. Like, I really wasn't expecting this episode to be so one-sided.
So a lot of events that happened here I expected to happen, but there were definitely some surprises in here that I was not expecting, and the final result was the one that had me curious the most. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go.
So, let's move on to the plot of episode 51. So, we get a quick narrator recap. Goody sees that the thieves are trapped and he flies off. Thieves start thinking of a way to get out. The PatoRangers charge in, and we get a pretty neat short opening sequence of the Rangers in place of the opening. Well, not the Rangers, but the actual actors. So when we come back, it's the episode title, number 51, finale. I'm sure we'll meet again. So the thieves can't blast their way out. PatoRangers are pretty much getting their butts kicked by the collection's power. The thieves are kind of doubtful that they can escape, but at least they're at peace knowing that their wish was fulfilled. The PatoRangers are knocked out of their forms. Lupin X charges in, but he can't even break the chains around DeGranio's safe. And he's knocked down too. Unfortunately for the thieves, not all the collection pieces are in the safe, so they can't just wish themselves out. But Kairi has an idea. And then Goody arrives at the mansion, runs into Kogoro. Thoughts on this opening scene?
Opening really sets the tone. You guys hear me? My thing says it's disconnected.
I can kind of hear you enough. Keep going.
Okay, good. Yeah, really sets the tone. First of have the we're probably going to die in here because the Pat Rangers have to kill DeGranio. I was thinking that was probably what was going to happen, and then they used the collection piece, the collection, completed collection, to wish the Lupin Rangers. Although at that point I think that the book was in there too, so it would have been destroyed too. So, I mean, well, of all the fights in this episode were amazing, but at this point in the episode, I was about what was going to happen and who would actually survive.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I think the fight at first was gonna go as well as we all figured it would go against the frickin' Grandio, so there's that. And yeah, I didn't know the book was in there with them. How they carried that in during the Zamigo fight is beyond me, but hey. Small nitpick in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion, but the idea that Kairi has that we'll touch on in a minute, I think was really freaking clever, and it built a bit more towards what we're gonna see later. I don't want to jump to anything else though, so overall, for a starter and what we got, I enjoyed it, and yeah, the theme was awesome, of course.
The theme playing over, like, really got me. I'm just surprised about something. Because last week I was saying, oh man, that was really smart of Kyrie to give away some of the dial pieces, the dial fighters, to the cops so that they can open DeGranio's safe from the outside. And now we have the reveal that, like, of Kyrie going, so how do we get out of here? Like, wait, that wasn't your plan with that? Is that why you didn't immediately start collecting the pieces? I was wondering why you weren't doing that. I that got me. That surprised me that that wasn't his intention with that. He was really just giving it to them so that they could defend themselves and fight against Ogranio.
Like, that completely went exactly how I did not expect. I kind of half expected we're going to destroy the Granio and the cops will use the collection piece to wish everybody back. That was my initial one because again, where the fuck did they have the book from? Apparently, those coats aren't the masks aren't the only thing that are magic.
It's rider technology, I tell you.
Yes, it's hammer
Well,
space.
it's not wrong.
But I had the idea when they went into the safe initially is like, oh well, that's how they're going to get all the collection pieces. They're just going to take them while they're in the safe, and then my brain went, well, how do they get them out?
That's what I was thinking. Like, that's why you give the dial fighters to the cops. Like, hey, open this for us later.
Right. Yeah, I expected it to go the route of find a way to break the chains, get them out that way. Totally didn't expect it to go the way it actually did go. But yeah, the fight was fantastic. Gotta love the last minute power ups too. Because, damn.
Hot damn.
Every time I hear break the chains, I can't help but think of the Kiva opening.
Right?
It's a bad habit.
Right?
But moving on. So, I'm guessing we skip a couple hours into the future because DeGranio's just destroyed more of the city. The injured global police catch up. They're determined to stop him, but he holds them in place and prepares to kill them. But his attacks suddenly disappear. The thieves begin putting his collection pieces into the book that Kogure gave them, teleporting them to the little armory at the mansion. So the four Keisatsu change and roll call before their helmets appear, which is pretty sweet.
Yes, I love that.
And they fight back. The thieves finally put their personal pieces in the book as well. That way, even if Degranio is defeated, Noel can at least have his wish granted. Pretty noble of them. Thoughts?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I'm like, oh, they have the book, and they're giving away the collection pieces. They must really think they're going to die. Wow, this is dark. It was so awesome.
Like I said earlier, a bit of a left field where they got the book, especially considering when they first entered that place they were fighting Zamigo. But I digress. Again, small nitpick in the grand scheme. That trick they pulled, like putting all of the collection pieces into Granio's safe, including their own, to the safe house where he can't find them and can't use them, is freaking genius. Not only does it eliminate the possibility of Degranio having a fighting chance, it gets closer to Noel's wish. And like Engine said earlier, it shows their nobility, it shows their prowess. It's just, oh my god. And I've heard some slight complaints here and there about how, since the PatoRangers didn't interfere with the Lupin side of the finale, the Lupin shouldn't have interfered with the Pats. I disagree with that because, let's be honest, it's Degranio here. The LupinRangers were only ever after Zamigo, and with how much they had grown, they stood a chance on their own, and the PatoRangers respected that. This is Degranio we're dealing with here. He was leagues above Zamigo from day one, regardless of the collection pieces, and we all knew it. Oh, I don't care what they say, because this was necessary, and this was needed for the development we're getting later. And yeah, the last minute power up thing, I get some people are probably going to be upset that it didn't come sooner, but you know what? Fuck it. It's the last episode, all bets are off, and this was awesome regardless. I am so happy Keiichiro got this.
Like, Dogranio makes a comment about causing havoc in a more lively place or something like that. Basically, what he means is everyone in that area either abandoned their homes or were killed.
Yeah.
Morbid much?
Yeah, that is dark.
Like, again, when was the last
But
time we
then
got...
we saw him freaking nuke a city.
Like,
Tokyo.
like, when was the last time we got a final boss like this? You could make the argument of Don Armage from Kyuranger, but the problem with that is that, while yes, he absorbed everyone in the entire galaxy, absorbing them didn't necessarily kill them, and they were all freed and brought back by the Kyurangers right away. These are people that are dead and gone. They're not... He's not Zamigo. He wasn't storing them anywhere. They're dead. Also, yeah, the thieves, like, giving up their personal collection pieces is the biggest, like... You don't expect to get out of here at all. You're just prepared to die here. That's heavy. And a little selfish. Look at how you reacted when your loved ones die. How do you think they're going to react when they find you're dead?
Precisely.
How dare you?
Irony!
Given the state of things later, yeah, we know exactly how that plays out.
Yep.
That's for later.
I enjoyed the fights, and I do like the fact that we have a villain that is a fucking threat and feels like one. Because, like I said, he straight up murdered cities.
Thousands dead.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence to show that they get brought back or any type of thing. They're just gone. Those family lines just ended. Even though we know this is the episode where he, quote unquote, would bite it, it makes him a justifiable villain for the fact that he sat on his ass the entire fucking series. And we see why. Because he could have done this shit whenever the fuck he wanted to. He just didn't feel like it. Because he's an asshole.
Yep.
Also, we get our final roll call for the PatoRangers. We get a helmetless roll call with them, which is... This is actually like the best case scenario we get here, because them in their official like police uniforms, it's very fitting. I have a slight problem in that the camera was weirdly zoomed in on their faces, and it was too up close. You didn't really get the full body shot. But, oh well, they still wore the suits and did the roll call.
Take the pictures where you find them.
Yeah, that is true. So, the PatoRangers use the pieces that the thieves lent them to beat the Granio. And just even his body is actually weak without the collection pieces. I mean, he is over 1,000 years old. So, Patoran Ichigo uses Siren Striker to bring him to his knees, and then Hilltop gives them the order to destroy him. And then we get a really emotional scene. Ichigo remembers Kairi's words to save a lot of people, not a phantom thief like him. And he slowly starts walking towards the Grand. All the PatoRangers remember some of the memories that they shared with the thieves, as Rangers and just as people. Ichigo remembers Kairi's last words to him, but he still hesitates to pull the trigger. Then he imagines Kairi supporting him, having his back, and he fires.
Fuck. I'm tearing up just remembering that.
Yeah, same.
Because, like, that is Keiichiro, like, from his perspective, effectively pulling the trigger on Kairi himself.
God. I don't know what to add to that, but man, that was rough to watch. Oh my god. Kairi crying. No, Keiichiro crying that entire time. Ow.
Like,
Oh. Go ahead.
Like, I can't even be too mad that it was a fake out, because it's just still such a strong scene, even knowing that.
I mean, okay. I just wanna, for a second, I don't care about the switch out. What I care about is the gravitas. Not just from them remembering everything. That was the main event. One thing that that already proved to me that this was, it, technically. But the moment that made it sink in for me was when Hilltop gave them the order to do it. And, usually, I know they're not SPD. They don't, arrest them. They kill them, usually. But for the most part, the PatoRangers have been good about that. It's like the one time they did arrest a guy. I mean, look how that turned out. But the one thing that hit me was when Hilltop gave that order. And, they were saying, "You've lost. Let them out now." And Delgranio's basically just telling them, "Hell no, this is my last hit on you. You can kill me, but you're still miserable. I win regardless." And for Hilltop to give them the order and say, "I'm willing to take the fall for this. Kill him." And like you guys said earlier, with him basically pulling the trigger on Kyrie, it's just, oh my fucking god! Why do finales have to hurt so much?
The better question is, why do good finales have to hurt? I do like the way that Hilltop they handled Hilltop's declaration, because that was a twofold declaration. It was one to Kyrie going, "Yes, I'm giving you an order to do this, and I'll take the hit from the brass." But at the same time, it was Hilltop going, "Y'all can blame me for this."
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Me neither.
Because he's effectively going, "We need to kill him. This is a problem if we keep him alive." I understand y'all. The Lupin Rangers are stuck there. That sucks. You're gonna hate whoever has to tell you to do this. Hate me. I will bear that. Which is basically it's
I
Kyrie's
will
motivation
bear
to
your
out
sin.
90% of this. Right, which is a very, very big Keiichiro thing. Because that was he was wanting to do for Kyrie. He wanted to help carry Kyrie's sins and try to lead him down the right path. This is Hilltop going, "This has to be done. Don't hate yourself, hate me." This effectively would have been if Keiichiro had found Kyrie before he became a thief. This is exactly what he would have done. Because at this point, we know that's true. Just the weight of all of this, and especially with the fake out itself, it just up until the screen went black, I'm like, that was it. It pissed me off initially because I was like, I wanted to see where that led, and then you get the result that it was a fake out after the fact. Is like, huh, he killed him. That fucking sucks. Then we get the, oh wait, no, they're not dead. Never mind. It was a great fake out, and that the scene of him walking up to DeGranio, going, "Let him out. No, let him out. No, let him out." It's gut wrenching. And I've used this phrase before. It kicks your heart in the dick. The series is very good at that in very subtle ways. It sucks, but it's beautiful all at the same time.
Yep, very true. So, a few years later, PatoRangers are still fighting the Ganglars. Now they're a lot more popular with the people than before. The thieves' loved ones are living out their lives. The Granio is deep underground, chained to a concrete pillar, surrounded by turrets. Jim alerts the police of a Ganglar attack. The police arrive at, looks like a nightclub, and shoot at the Ganglar after he attacks with his collection piece. Of course, he retreats. From a balcony, Kaitou says that that's the last Ganglar piece, so they're gonna take it. They jump down and explain that Jackpot Striker is the one who saved them, using his ability to control Ganglar's bodies from the inside. And of course, we get a flashback to DeGranio not being able to control himself. The safe opens. Toma asks Jackpot who brought him to the vault, since we have had no idea where the hell he's been since the movie, which people have brought up. And
yeah, where were you?
He was probably just like done with Japan. He wanted to get far away. So he tells them that it was 3 phantom thieves. 3 thieves enter the room. It's Umika's friend Shiho, Kaede's brother, whose name I don't actually know, and Aya, Tomo's fiance. Of course, they hug it out, and Kaede finally apologizes to his brother and hugs him. Basically, at some point, Kogure recruited them, and Noel trained them. They just had to save the thieves no matter what. Wow. That was awesome. Thoughts?
So, were they in the safe for a few weeks or longer?
It is. I think it's implied to be
a
at
few
least a
years.
week. What?
No, it's a few years, yeah.
Years?
They've been in there the whole time.
Is it,
Up until that one point. They've been in there the whole friggin' time.
what did they eat?
No, it was not
It's another dimension. You don't technically have to eat.
weeks.
Unless
Yes,
it's,
months
like,
maybe, not
suspended
years.
time.
I'm
Okay,
pretty
wait.
sure it said
I thought
a
the
few
time
years.
jump was a year, not years
Oh,
up.
maybe a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
Also,
okay,
you're not gonna get an answer to what they ate inside there. Their bodies were probably like put into some sort of stasis from aging or
yeah,
something.
that's my guess.
But still, that's
Wow,
a freaking year.
Well, that was an emotional roller coaster ride. Like, I assumed the thieves were dead. I'm like, oh, the Granio is still alive. Maybe the thieves. No, maybe probably the police were like so desperate to save the thieves that were like, fall for this, but we can't kill him. We'll just keep him chained up. Which I think it will be addressed maybe in the next crossover movie, not the Q Ranger one, the Ryu Soldier one, but I'll get to that later. And then they come back, and for a second, I'm like, shoot, picture what is that? Phantom Thieves, and initially I thought that the Lupin Rangers we saw were actually the loved ones using a Lupin collection to disguise themselves for some reason. So it took me a few minutes for me to realize it was actually them. Then there was the flashback scene, and I cried some more, and it was beautiful. And I love how this sappy reunion is going on right in front of Degranio. It's just like the ultimate fuck you to him.
That's great. Yeah, I did just double check. It was a year.
Jeez.
In there.
Okay. Doesn't change the fact
That's
that
still
holy
absurd.
shit. Yeah. Tension, did you have anything else?
No, I think that was it for that section. But, like, the reunion and, like, the nose tweak by Kyrie's brother, and I, got me right in the feels. And I'm like, this is awesome. I love that you guys got your wish. Also, the whole thing afterward where Noel and Kogre are talking, and Noel's like, Kogre, that was kind of nasty of you recruiting their loved ones. And Kogre's like, well, you did train them to become thieves.
So it's like, well, you can't really judge me if you participated, so...
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Where the hell do I even... Okay, yeah, the loved ones thing, the new Phantom Thieves. I loved that. That was so clever and fitting, considering the irony. But, yeah, a year jump. Oh my god. And I love the Gangler, despite Delgranio still, being arrested. They're still a thing. They're still around. Just because you killed the big bad doesn't mean that the small fry aren't gonna try something,
Hmm?
In fact, more so, because now there's a freaking power vacuum. Have fun with that. Oh my god, just everything happening like that. And, okay, again, small nitpick with Jackpot Striker. I get the idea of him going through the book and controlling him because he's inside the safe. I get that. It was established in the movie. But that's my problem. It was established in the movie. And you're using it right now, last minute, in order to... Like, I understand if it's major towards the story, but if you're gonna make it major towards the story in order for it to tie into the movie, at least use it more than where
Not
it
at all.
gets used in the final episode,
It looks like crap. I wrote myself into a corner. What can I use to resolve the plot quickly?
But in the long run, I do understand why they did it. It's just I wish they'd used it at least one more time. But for the most part, I'm happy the way they did it. And freaking Granio, the 100 fucking guns pointed on him at all times. That reminded me of Lilo and Stitch. I was so glad that they didn't show him just like spitting at the wall and they shoot it because his DNA locked. But yeah, I mean, just, oh my god. And them jumping back into the cat and mouse thing the second the thieves show up is genius to me. It was absolutely perfect. They just streamlined back into their old ways. It's like, well, they're still thieves, and let's be honest, we're doing this because we want to now.
Yeah.
And I freaking love the touch they did with the collection piece. That's the collection piece they use in the intro every freaking time.
Yeah,
oh my god.
The final collection piece is one that we've seen every
Yeah, that
episode.
Yep.
And I recognize it. I'm like, it's that collection piece.
Yep, exactly.
That they're fighting over in some museum for some reason.
In fact, this final scene is basically a recreation of that scene from the opening.
And now there's a reason Umika and Sakuya don't fight each other. But one more thing was the handoff. Oh my god, the handoff. That was one of the best ones we've had yet, because it's streamlined.
Ko is like, big hug, you should be friends.
It was streamlined perfectly, because it went right from the final scene into the another part of the museum, and then in comes Ryusa Red. It's like, come on guys, hug it out. We've been doing this for a year. Which, by the way, the year thing, I forgot to say, in the show's timeline now, the loved ones have been apart from the LupinRangers for 3 freaking years now.
Yeah.
3 years! Holy shit!
It's only been
gravitas of that.
Jeez.
God.
Oh my god! I fucking loved this final part so much! The handoff was the icing on the cake, though. Especially since I can't wait for you, Soldier. But, oh my god, this was so amazing. And I sound like a broken record, so I'm gonna stop. But, ha! I loved it. I loved it so much. I wish it didn't end.
We'll see Keiichiro next week in Super Sentai Strongest Battle. But it won't be the same.
But, yeah, so the loved ones becoming thieves to, like, go out and find Jackpot Striker. That, like, it's kind of an offhanded comment to explain his disappearance, but it was a great shot of them walking in with their thief outfits. I'm... the idea of, like, oh, hey, you know how we can put these through the book to the safe? Yeah, we can also retrieve it that way. I do like that Jackpot did get played in again. Even if it was, like, just the one more time as a kind of ex machina. And when Kairi finally apologizes to his brother, the thing he's been wanting to say for 3 years, oh, just, like, that had me in tears. And then his brother, like, does the nose thing to him that Kairi's been doing all this time. That's where he got it from. Also, I love when Keiichiro's just like, you're going to come back to being thieves? Umika is the one that's just like, we can't help it. We haven't collected the whole collection yet. He still has the last one. Our job's not done. Like yours isn't.
Noel still has his wish to do.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna need to collect your pieces as well, cops. No, there's still ganglers out there! Our job isn't done! Oh. And yeah,
Now it's just one big game of cat and mouse mixed with he said, she said, and I love it!
The final line, like, into the ending screen, followed up by the handoff with the new Red coming in as, like, the immediate, like, here's exactly what happens next. That's just great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, and one more thing I didn't mention, the Lupin's final roll call just before they transformed was very nice.
Oh yeah, that's right. The suitless roll call.
Suitless roll call, then they transformed, and I'm like, yes.
And that's what I meant by earlier. Like, this was the best case scenario. We get both types of final roll calls, and they're both excellent. My only disappointment here is that Noel doesn't join in for the final Lupin roll call,
Yeah.
and is absent from that last scene.
Mm.
But again, they were pretty much recreating the opening in the show itself, which doesn't feature Noel in it, and I am very happy with that.
Yeah.
So I absolutely loved the suitless roll call. I only have one gripe about it.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like Kyrie's suit because it looks like he's wearing his big brother's suit. It doesn't fit on him right with the way it's tailored. So it kind of looks like a little kid playing dress up a little bit. I kind of get it's kind of the motif. It just looks funny to me. Other than that, it's fantastic. I kind of half-ass expected them to just go when the cops ask him how they're there. I just half expected to them. Just don't ask questions. We are. Like I half expected them to just not explain it, which I would have enjoyed, but would have been a giant fuck you. So I get why they didn't. Because I mean, they could have just passed it off as, "Come on, we're thieves. It's what we do."
Our job's not done yet.
Noel and Kogane training up their loved ones to get them back, and then kind of arguing with themselves playfully about who was more fucked up in that scenario, I thought was hilarious. I have no problem with Jackpot being the ex machina in this case, because he literally is. But like Henshin said, I would have preferred him to at least do something else since the movie. Even if it was, oh look, here's a giant fucking gangler we need to fight.
To be fair, his voice actor is pretty damn big, so maybe they could only afford him for the movie in this. But I'll just go ahead and finish up the notes since we did kind of jump around. Not that I can blame any of you guys because this was so damn epic. But the police are glad to see them again, but they aren't happy that they're gonna continue to be thieves. And Kaidi says that they're gonna steal the police's collection pieces next. So the Ganglar shows back up with some Pokemon. The thieves roll call in their thief outfits, minus the masks. And then they Kaito change and attack. The opening starts playing, and we basically get the full length of the opening and the fight simultaneously. Because, yeah, Sentai fight each other. Of course, they fight the Pokemon. And then in the end, Lupin Red warns them that we're gonna take your treasure. Episode end. And then people have already mentioned the handoff with basically, what's his name?
So Red.
Yeah, he goes up and breaks up the fight between the Reds for a second. So, yeah, this was pretty damn great. I love all the callbacks to the opening, to the first episode, really. When we just had the thieves in their opening. Any more thoughts?
I loved this season. It was a really good season. Yes, it had some down parts, but I loved all of the characters. I loved the music. I loved most of the story. So I've only seen 2 Sentai series in total, but I think that this I like much better than Zyuohger, and I like Zyuohger fair amount, but this was really good.
Oh boy. Okay, so I have said a lot of positives about this show. Over the year it's been out. Holy shit, it doesn't feel like it. And I've said plenty of times I have my gripes about it, and I'm not saying by any means this is a bad show at all. It's not one of my top 5, I'll say that. But I still had so much fun with the show. I remember my first ever comment about the show was Lupin the Third meets Tomika Hero Rescue Force, and in a way, it still is that, but it's so much more than that at the same time. So to see where this show has turned and become, it's been a hell of a ride, and I've enjoyed the whole damn thing. Ups, downs, and everything in between, but yeah, I want to see Ryu Soldier, because let me put it this way. I don't call myself Little King for nothing, and if you're a Kyoryuger fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about, so I'm sad to see this show go, of course, but I can't wait to see what's coming. Oh, and I'd be remiss if I didn't at least say this once. Yoko Kusuru, anta no takara wa itadaku ze!
You can actually pronounce it correctly. I'd probably just mangle that.
Thank you.
This might actually be my new favorite Sentai for me. Some of my top ones include Deca Ranger, which is just an all-around really good Sentai, with the whole detective theme and how they handle like the episode by episode scenarios without having an actual main villain. As well as like I really enjoyed Magic Ranger, which has like a huge feeling of like togetherness and belonging, and it is just a fantastic show. And I even really enjoyed Tokyuger, mostly for the villains because it had some really solid villains who went through their own story arcs of even questioning why they were villains in the first place. What makes this show possibly stand out above them for me is just the way the show is handled in general, with the whole focus on more on character development rather than story, and instead of getting this complicated story focused on just the main red hero that leaves a lot to be desired, we get all of these characters that grow throughout the show, and you see them grow, and then you occasionally get the big episode that shows that progress all at once, and it just makes you care so much about it. It is wonderful. And with the simple design of its story, it didn't have to evolve that to keep things interesting, because the base concept alone was interesting enough to carry itself forward. For tackling having a show with 2 teams, I feel like they did a great job, even if they focused more on one team than evenly dividing between the 2 of them.
Like, for me, this series is a masterclass in writing, on how you can achieve an amazing story and draw it out and still keep everybody engaged. Like, there are a few moments where people were trying to push for them to get more plot rather than be so character development heavy, where normally that would be the case. The way this show did it made the fact of it being character focused work perfectly. Having it be two separate teams, limited interaction, and showing the changes through personal life and through the team dynamics and all that worked fantastically, especially with the inclusion of Noel, which I feel he was slightly underutilized with how everything could have played out in the end, but it was still done exceptionally. I've been watching Sentai since Shinkenger. That was the first series I sat down and started with. I've gone back and watched a few of them. I've watched all of Deca Ranger, and a handful of others. This to me is everything I've ever been wanting in a Sentai. It also shows that even while this had just only had a basically a 7-member Sentai team, it shows that you can handle, or that Sentai can handle, what would be considered a larger group if split and the focus is set right. This is where Kyuranger had a problem. Is you had the large team, but they couldn't figure out how to separate it to balance everything. So characters got shafted in Kyuranger. Granted, there were 13 of them. Whereas here, there's 7. It makes it easier to do to focus on the characters. But through everything is like there's small moments that throughout the series that you're left for wanting of anything beyond what we get. Like with the finale, I would have preferred a more clean wrap up. Villain defeated completely, the whole 9 yards. Like, but it works perfectly, even the way they did it. I'm very sad to see this series end because it was so expertly done. Especially for the idea that we have that's coming. And that includes a little 4 weeks of the superhero Tyson knockoff thing. But yeah, I'm very sad to see this series ending. To me, it was damn near perfect.
Yeah, in terms of Sentai, it's hard for me to pick favorites just because there's so many great things about so many different shows. So I kind of like to think of this as being one of the best in like the character writing and development category for me. Like shows like Go Onger, Go Buster, where you can just absolutely love the characters and watch them grow. I would definitely put this one up there with them. So yeah, I'm sad to see it go, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the Kyoryuger based next series. We'll see. Because, yeah, seriously, Kyoryuger's such a good, well-rounded Sentai. So we'll see.
Ooh. So. Ooh. Sorry, it's just. What do we even do next now?
Maybe cover the 4-week thing unless we're not going to.
I guess that's a good time to bring it up. So, the next official Sentai, Ryu Soldier, is airing in approximately 1 month. I think it's more close to 5 weeks.
March 17th.
So, in that gap, Toei will be airing a little Sentai special. I'm still not entirely sure what it's about.
It's basically their tribute to the end of the Heisei era. For Kamen Riders, it's Geo. For Sentai, it's this.
But yeah, I don't know if I'll be around to do any podcasts for that. If you guys are going to do it, and
I'll check the first episode and see what I think. If I think it's dumb, I'll just wait until View Soldier comes out.
we don't really know what to expect from this going in, so it's a little unclear. Uh, if for some reason like we don't end up doing podcasts for it, I know Zero would want to have stay consistent, so he would probably wants to do something on Tuesdays to fill in that gap. So that's something that we're gonna have to discuss.
I'm definitely down solely on the fact that we're gonna have some veteran Sentai come back. Well, obviously, we've seen Doggy Kruger is gonna come back for an episode. And then in one short little scene, I saw, I think it was Gao Red, Boken Silver, of course Keiichiro, and I think Go on Red. So they're probably going to be one veteran per episode. It's going to be 5 episodes. So I think it'll be fun. Worth doing the cast, probably.
So all I want to know is Jelashito going to be in it.
Yes,
Is
I
who
saw
gonna
him.
be
I
in
saw
it?
he's going to be.
That's what I thought. I thought I saw him.
Who's gonna be in it?
Fucking Jelashito.
I mean, what else are they gonna do with him? It doesn't matter. He's not
Could have
important.
been the trash bin again. I'm just glad I saw that, right? Because it was just a brief flash. I'm like, wait a second. But yeah, I'm down for doing a podcast for it. I mean, I have nothing better to do.
If there's a podcast on it, and I'm free, I will podcast.
Cool. Well, I think we've pretty much said all our final thoughts. Anything else?
Nah. Uh, I think we can call this here. This show was definitely one we all enjoyed. We'll probably come back to it on an open cast at some point in the future. But for now, I think we can safely close the book on this story and await the Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger versus Kyu Ranger movie coming out this autumn and will probably be subbed sometime early next year.
Yay!
So look forward to that. If no one else has anything they want to say,
Mm-mm.
No.
thank you all for joining us tonight. This has been a fantastic show, and I'm glad to have been able to watch it with all of you. We'll be returning tomorrow with Kamen Rider Zio, and we'll see what the future of Sentai has for us next time.
You.
Thanks for listening.
And adieu.
What, no later, taters?
I wanted to be respectful.
I've come to expect that, so it was disappointing that I didn't hear it.
Fine. Adieu and later, taters. Happy?
Yes, extremely, thank you. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you guys next.
Oh.